and stuff.
I like writing, as long as he doesn't go the Chris Claremont way, where you drop a hint in 1963 and maybe come back to it in 2012, maybe not.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Here is the best thing for me. When I read the comic, I can hear Harold Ramis, I can hear Dan Aykroyd, I can hear Ernie Hudson and Bill Murray. I can hear them speaking the lines. And
see, that's an accolade, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have read a lot. I've read every Ghostbuster comic that has come out. I have read. This is the first time that I've really read it and got these guys get Ghostbusters.
See, that we need to get them on.
Yeah,
because that means that they've hit it right on the head.
Yeah. Now, I was tweeting them and told them that they're on this. They retweeted it. They were very gracious about it. Chris Ryall as well. He retweeted as well. So
the legend that is Chris.
Chris Ryall. Yes, good buddy to FTN. Now, funny enough, I actually tweeted him about this as well. IDW have made the list twice.
Yes.
Because the other book, Lock and Key.
Oh, good grief! Do you know what? If I had been doing, I don't know why that isn't on my top 10. I'll be honest. I think I had an aneurysm. You didn't let me finish. Let me just turn the page. I've got a top 11. I had my number 1, my number 0. It's my infinite one. Is Lock and Key.
Yeah.
All joking aside, that is probably the best ongoing, whatever you want to call it, novel in comic form, comic novel, graphic novel. It's something different.
Yeah.
And Joe Hill, oh good God, he's so good.
But let me tell you the thing about it, right? And it's actually very similar. IDW seem to have nailed this on the head. I know Marvel do it and DC do it and Dark Horse and everybody else, they all do it as well. But for me, IDW have done it twice this year better than anybody else. They have got a writer and an artist. Gabriel Rodriguez's art is stunningly good. And it's
cinematic, isn't it? You forget.
It's
one of the few comics you read that you can almost see it moving.
Yeah. But it's not only that. Schoening and Burnham are the same with Ghostbusters. Him and Hill, they're organic. The two of them just complement each other perfectly. I've read interviews with Joe Hill where he talks about Gabriel Rodriguez's art, and he sort of says, he just sort of throws the idea and Rodriguez just creates this masterpiece from it, and that is real. His art is beautiful.
Yeah, I think I remember, I don't know if it's 100% true if I'm having a moment, but Joe Hill was talking about the fact that it's almost like the old school Marvel way of doing a comic, where a writer didn't actually, do a 28-page script directing the artist of what to do. Mm-hmm. It was almost like hints and plots and going together. So it like the writer might say, well, if they're in this area, and then the artist would just draw it, and then it would go back to the writer who would then write the script for it.
Yeah. And
that sounds like how Lock and Key is done. If it's not done that way, it's close to it.
Right, now the other comic book series, and Saf and Owen spoke about it. We spoke about it off air. We spoke about it. Owen, you've been dipping in and out of this, the Marvel collection.
Yeah, mainly because of availability more than a desire just not to dip in. I actually want the whole collection, but to get them is like hen's teeth. Yeah. It's like you just walk in, whatever's on the shelf.
Yeah, because really? I think Jay, you might notice that I think what they've done with this is, to get it, you have to subscribe. They have made it awkward to just go in and pick it up off the shelf.
Even subscribing doesn't guarantee getting it.
Yeah.
I had so many issues, I actually threatened to cancel it twice so far, because I've missed 2 or 3 already. And it's annoying when you do walk into somewhere like Eason's, or I think even Waterstones, but definitely Eason's, and they've got one of the ones that you've missed, and Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I thought about putting that on my top 10, but each individual issue is good. Some are better than others. As a collection, I think, as Owen said, having the whole thing, that's what's going to be brilliant. So in 2015, possibly, or whenever it finishes, that's when you look up at your bookshelf and you see all of them, and you can just pick one down and read it.
Yeah.
That will be stunning.
Well, I mean, because I actually wrote a little piece, and what I wrote was, obviously it was cashed in because of Avengers, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean it's not great, and it is mostly great. There's a lot of books. Not a lot. There's some books in it that I just haven't been able to get into. There's others I've given up reading. There's some that I'm not even interested in reading. But what it has done, I mean, I've just finished reading Punisher, Welcome Back, Frank. Which was amazing. I've never read a Punisher book before. It was class. I've read Thor. I read the She-Hulk book, and I loved it. It's actually maybe one of my favourite books in it so far.
I think, was that Peter David?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's so funny.
And he's just a brilliant guy.
Yeah. So it really has been, because Jay, you know me, and I know I say I'm a DC man, but I'm really more of a Batman man. But this was just the introduction, and I'm just eating up Marvel at the minute because of this graphic novel. It's opening the doors for other characters and books that I normally wouldn't have touched.
Some of the ones that you're maybe not enjoying as much, I know that the Spider-Man one of the early Spider-Mans had Venom in it, wasn't as kind of enthralling for you. But that, I think, if you think about it, when that was done, trade paperbacks didn't exist.
Yeah.
Collections like that didn't exist. Comics now are almost being written 6, maybe 7 issues at a time in that format to make a graphic novel. So things like the Thor one, and even Punisher was an arc. It was a self-contained story. The Venom one, there was issues missing from that because it took place over 5 or 6 different titles.
Yeah.
So when you get something that is probably in the last 10 years, it'll definitely work better than some of the older ones.
Mm-hmm. No, it definitely is, because there is, you feel there's pieces missing, you feel there's chunk. But overall, it's class, and it really is.
Even the bad ones are good. Yeah.
And I mean, even the ones I haven't, I've enjoyed leafing through them and picking up bits of, but yeah, it's great. Did I read what?
Marvels. It was kind of set in the 1940s or 50s, I think.
I can't get into Marvels. I've sat down and started it twice.
I didn't think you'd like that one as much. If you sit down, and this is, honestly, if you get a quiet half an hour, 40 minutes, sit down on your own as if you're reading a novel and just put your feet up. That's the only way to read that. It's not a comic book, it's a novel.
Yeah.
Just having some pictures.
No, but I mean, the art is beautiful, but I just haven't been able to get into it. Jay, I'm going to have to let you go because we're so far into the time already, it's not even funny.
I will talk to you all later.
Okay.
I will not be online for much longer, I don't think.
All right. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to getting you back in the studio soon, and all the best.
Next week. Okay.
Take care, Jay.
Take care, bye.
Hi, I'm Billy D. Williams, and I'm following the nerd.
Hello there, and welcome to the Following the Nerd show. Now with 30% more nerd. Although you can't actually tell that, can you? Unless you have some kind of nerd measuring device, which would just be plain weird.
Yes, you're Following a Nerd. Get us on Facebook at facebook.com/Following a Nerd. Tweet us at NerdFollowing. Owen.
Hello.
It's your turn.
Oh, God.
Now, look, don't forget the mic.
That's where the mic's over there, because I know what's coming up.
Right, now, just a quick introduction to everybody that's listening. Owen, as well as being the writers of the sci-fi series The Time Warriors, you are one of our most prolific writers in Following the Nerd. You're our chief feature writer. The amount of work that you put out, sir, is ridiculous. He meets Stephen King looks like a chancer.
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces. But what you do have a passion for, and I know you love your movies and your TV shows and your but what you seem to have a real passion for is the weird and wonderful, the paranormal.
Yep.
And that's why, sir, I give you the great task of putting together the 10 weirdest and wonderfulest.
And I have to tell you, as soon as he told me I was doing the paranormal, the blood was draining.
No, well, actually, what I did was give you
how am I
going to
get 20 things? 20 ghosts, there you go. But when I actually started getting into it, it turned out to be one of the easiest things to do, because you think life's really weird. You don't even haven't heard of half of it yet.
Okay, so this is the Following the Nerd top 10. What way are we going to do it? We're going to do the bottom 10 first, or what way you want to do it?
No, we'll do the bottom 10 last.
Right, okay. This is the top 10 paranormal, weird and wonderful stories of 2012.
Now, you see, you've so much to choose from, because you've got the obvious, ghost faces in photographs and ghost videos and stuff. And I thought, well, there's just too many. Maybe you could have a top 30 of those, so we'll go for stuff different. Number 10 was Kansas City is named the most haunted house hotspot in the world. And that is because there's so much activity over it. It's like ghost hunters and all those guys have been in, the ghost adventures. I've been down to, there's Union Station. St. Mary's Episcopal Church has voices and sightings, and you've got the Reverend Henry David Jerome, and he's apparently buried there. Now, he was found dead in the church, and his death was wrote off as a suicide, but they found chloroform and a handkerchief in his pocket. So apparently his ghost has come back and said, it wasn't a suicide, it was the death. But he's actually really scaring people out of that church, left, right and centre. And it's just, the list goes, when you go on that list, the list goes on and on for Kansas alone.
Right.
So it's the mental hotspot at the minute. You've got the vampire and the alien skeletons that have been found.
What is this? Tell me about this.
I know other sites have ran this. Oh God, I've so many notes here. It's like reading a Stephen King novel, honest to God. Okay, the vampire skeletons were found in Bulgaria and Britain, and they all had spikes through the shoulders, through the head, through the arms, as if they'd been nailed back into the ground so they wouldn't come up. But experts are saying it's down to a disease that was going about the time and people's superstitions, so that's why they nailed the bodies down. But these bodies are the only ones in the graveyard of which have been found, so they're sort of saying, well, these actually were vampires.
Okay.
Maybe. The alien ones were found in Mexico.
Did this happen just in the last couple
recently?
of weeks?
Yeah. The Mexican ones has got the alien skeletons. Now, remember the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, everybody forgets that movie wisely. The aliens had the big long heads.
Yes.
Right? They're exactly the same as those.
But isn't this a compression thing? Isn't this something that they do to kids when they're born in certain tribes where they wrap their head in tight bandages?
Yeah, but not in Mexico. That's Africa.
Well, I suppose.
Because
Okay.
I thought the same thing. I looked it up. It's like the Chinese women that do the thing with their feet. Like bend them backwards, so they've really tiny feet. But most of those are actually African. It's the same with the African tradition of the neck stretching.
Yes.
With the brass bangles.
Uh-huh.
It's all tied into that, but these are not Mexican based.
Right, so this is an isolated thing. Okay, all right.
But no DNA, no nothing. But you wouldn't expect that with skeletons. But it's just one of them things. What are they doing there? It's the same as the vampire skeletons in Britain. Shouldn't be there.
Okay.
I will mention that there's now a Bigfoot in Britain.
It's not Peter Mayhew.
No, it's not Peter Mayhew. Apparently, Britain's got its own UK version of Bigfoot, so expect finding Bigfoot to come over very soon. That'll be a cool one. The next one is the African furry circles, which are actual fact. These are huge circles that are appearing in African plains. Now, the difference with these, they last between 24 to 75 years before fading away, but nothing else grows in that circle for that period of time.
Right, and what are they made out of stone? Or are they,
No,
what are they,
it's just you could be walking. It's like crop circles, but they're just circles, and they just appear in dry earth and vegetation.
And they like burned in?
No, just appear. Nobody can figure out what it is. Everybody say, UFOs landing, but it looks like the crop circles, the actual circle, but that's it. Nothing grows in it for 24 to 75 years, and then they fade away. Nobody can explain it. They've had all the experts out, especially Africa, given the climate and stuff.
Yeah.
They just can't explain it. And if it had been England, they'd say it's the weather, blah, 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 machinery. But no such thing exists. And these are big circles.
Okay.
Big circles. But, again, it's just unexplained. The Paulding Light is a mystery. It's just a thing that's been going on in Michigan, in America. That's been going on for years. Now, they had a research team out recently who claimed that the actual Paulding Light, which is a light, if you stand at a certain part of a field, you can see these lights moving about.
Right.
This expert team went out and said it's car lights, and the actual moving and dipping and changing colour is due to dips in the road.
Right.
But the problem with that is they didn't have cars when the Native Americans were about. So
this sounds very similar to Will o' the Wisp, our own
yeah,
Will o' the Wisp.
Yeah. It's like earth light, ghost lights, swamp lights and stuff.
My dad was a bread man for 30 years in sort of, obviously you know, but for anybody who doesn't know, Kilkeel or Strevor, which is country area, very isolated sort of. And, you know, he would have worked till late at night on the bread run. And he always told the story of, he remembers one night in a field being followed by a light in a field as he was driving along the road beside the field. And, you know, he said it couldn't have been like police or army or kids because they kept up with him. The light was going at the same speed he was going. And then he said as he came to the end of the field, it just turned and shot off into the middle of the field and disappeared. But that's Will o' the Wisp. That is a known...
It's a known phenomenon. It's like they say it's ball lightning, but ball lightning only explains part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole, I think, section there that they're never going to explain. And I think the Paulding Lights, but for this guy to come out and say it's headlights of a car.
Aye, 300 years ago.
Yeah,
man.
whatever.
Before we go any further, I take it you're a true believer in this. You know, when you read these stories, what do you think?
No, see, I'm the sort of person, I believe, but you need to show me to make me believe, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I'll not take something on face value. I will look at the evidence first and go, well, that could be this and that could be that. There would be somebody showed me a video of a ghost. As soon as I looked at it, I went, look at this video taken on an iPhone. And as soon as I looked at it, I said, no, that's somebody smoking out the back door, and the smoke's just come back with the wind. Yeah. It was just the trail. But
so you're all about debunking, but you are a believer, right? You think
I
believe in a lot
there's
of things
absolutely, there's certain things without question that I've, but also personal experience.